So Honda seem to be the only mainstream manufacturer that give us automatic gearboxes or semi-automatic gearboxes on motorcycles. They started off, didn't they, with those strange sort of centrifugal clutch things on things like the monkey bike and the step-through cubs, things like that. Then more recently they gave us dual clutch transmissions, DCT, on bikes like the Africa Twin and the Goldwing, which I know well. I own one of those with DCT. It's a brilliant system. Well, now they've come out with this system. It's called e-clutch, and I'm riding a bike that's got that fitted. I'm lucky enough to be one of the first people to ride one of these press bikes in the UK with e-clutch, and I'm on the CB650R, a bike that I absolutely loved anyway, but now, as I say, it's got this fancy new clutch. So let's take it for my first ride, see what I make of it. Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel for this slightly different first ride review, because I have ridden the CB650R before, but it was back in 2021. They've made a few changes to the bike since I rode it, but in particular it's now got this fancy e-clutch setup, which I'm currently battling with my brain to use. One of the things that you have to do when you're using this system is sort of retrain your brain when you're used to riding a bike, a normal manual bike, because this has a clutch lever, as you can see, which you can use if you want to, and you do have to change gear using the gear lever with your left foot as usual, but you don't have to use the clutch. So look, I'm in second here as I trundle through Great Bissenden at what looks like school knocking off time, and at slow speeds it's absolutely lovely. Throttling on here is beautiful. No ride by wire throttle, of course, on the CB650R. It's still old school. Look, if I go down to first gear, look, I can just press it with my foot, no clutch there, and it changed down a treat. Look, I can go, there we go, I'm going to go up to second and second. Here we go, second. Look at that, absolutely brilliant. No use of the clutch. Let's come back down to first as I get to the, actually I don't need to because there's nothing around. So I will conduct this first ride review in the usual way, but of course it will have a focus on e-clutch, which I'm still battling to make my brain not use that clutch. So the way it works, it's you can think of it, if you like, as an up and down quick shifter, but it's more than that, because you can bring the bike to a complete halt in first gear, not touch the clutch, and it'll be absolutely fine. It won't stall, and it's actually much better than a quick shifter. Well, it sort of incorporates a quick shifter as well in some of the technology, is my understanding. Basically it puts on a little bolt-on gadget onto the bike, which I'll show you in a minute, which is not an automatic gearbox, but it is an automatic clutch, if you like. So it contains motors and gears and things that actually activate the clutch for you when it detects that you want to use it. So before I get into how the bike rides, let me show you this machine and some of the changes that the CB650R, as well as the e-clutch, has had for this 2024 model. Okay, here she is, the CB650R for 2024. I've always liked the look of the little CB, I have to say, particularly things like these 4-into-1 pipes underneath, which I think look absolutely brilliant. There are a few subtle styling changes for 2024, as well as that new e-clutch. So let me just show you a couple of those that I've noticed anyway. First off, this headlight. This looks a little bit different here. This sort of profile has been made a little bit more angular, I think, as had these little ears here, these little air boxes, which I think look fantastic, are slightly more angular than they used to be, and different treatment, I think, on the radiator shrouds as well. Coming down the bike, the seat is all new on here. Both the passenger and rider seat has been amended, slightly, a little bit wider, I think, a little bit more comfort there, and the lights are all LED all round now. Let me show you the little bit that is the e-clutch system. That's all it is, bolted on the top there, like so. And the thing that's unusual about it, if you come around here, look, if I just turn the bike on, see, at the moment the clutch lever acts as any clutch lever would. It's, you know, hard to pull, take my word for it. If I turn the bike on, bring her alive, here we can see what that TFT looks like. We can see it's got auto written in there now. It means that the e-clutch is engaged, and now look, the lever's all floppy, because it actually is, it's pulling the clutch in of its own accord, as it were. Anyway, so all very clever stuff, and yeah, nice looking bike. I've always liked the look of the CB650R, and those changes for this year, to my mind, are all quite nice. Still a handsome looking beast. Okay, welcome back aboard the bike then. Let's just talk a bit about how the bike rides in the usual way, as I would on a first ride review. So comfort first off. Well, I've always found the CB650 R to be a comfortable place to be. The riding position reminds me very much of a street triple. I'm sat upright with a little bit of a canted forward feel, and my legs are in a sporty tuck. I quite like that. I think it's my favourite of all the riding positions actually. You could ride it all day long and not be fatigued. It just puts enough weight over the front wheel to make turning and so on good, but not so much that you're going to have any wrist ache as a result of weight on your wrists on the bike. It really is a lovely riding position, this. The seat itself has been redesigned, as I mentioned, for 2024, and in terms of its comfort, it feels great. Maybe a little bit hard. Ooh, got to remember to change down gear. This retraining your brain thing is going to take some getting used to. If you only rode the E-clutch bike, you'd be fine. I'm sure it's just a matter of getting used to it. So yeah, the seat on here is nice. Feels maybe a little bit wider at the back, and I can move around a bit more on it, so maybe the bike now is a bit more suitable for longer riders. I'm 5'8" with a 32-inch leg, and this fits me absolutely perfectly. So no problem with comfort on the bike at all. It's really, really nice place to be. Suspension is, as I often say, on these non-adjustable suspended bikes, it's in the Goldilocks zone. It's not too hard, it's not too soft. It's just set perfect out the factory for me with my 74 kilogram weight. It's around about 11 and a bit stone if you're old school. Right, I'm going to do a left just here down my favourite bumpy road. Oh, I went. It's weird when you want to go for the clutch. It, for some reason, is preventing me going for the brake. Really does scramble your brain, this. Changing the gear, look, without using that clutch. It's brilliant. I have to say, it's really smooth, the gear change as well, both up and down. The only thing I've noticed, I guess, is it's a little bit, when you pull away in first, it can be a little bit jerky. Well, if you find that's a problem, then you can just resort to using the manual clutch. The beauty of this is you can switch between the two whenever you like. Look, I'm in 5th now. Suppose now I want to change down to go around this corner into 4th. Well, I can just grab clutch in the usual way, and there we go. It's a matter of milliseconds that it realises you want to use the manual clutch, and you can do that. Or if you want to, if you're just not interested in the clutch at all on this particular ride, you can set it up in the settings to just ride it manually. And the normal clutch is nice and light if you want to use it like that. And as soon as you're off the lever, look, it goes back, it shows you this little A to show you you're in auto mode again. Let me come down, look, to first, and I'll show you I can stop in first gear without using the clutch. There we go. Right, we're off. Thank you, sir. And then using it like a quick shifter down here, it's very rapid in operation. If it were a quick shifter, it's one of the smoothest ones I've used. It's particularly good going down the box compared to some I've used. Great little bike, this. I love the 4-cylinder smoothness and the sound of the engine. It's quite quiet, quite muted. But there's something about 4-cylinder bikes, isn't there? Well, let's face it, there's something about all bikes, they're all great. New TFT for the new bike for the 2024 model. Used to have that little black and white LCD unit, which I really liked actually, but as TFTs go, I have to say this one is really, really nice. I think it's 5-inch, but it's really clear, and dare I say it, I would say it's almost up there with the BMW one for clarity. It's obvious what speed you're doing, the rev counter is nice and obvious, and I've even managed to set this one up using the Honda connected app thing, something that I usually fail miserably at, so that I've got turn-by-turn navigation set as well. As you can see by this bit on the right here, it's not active at the moment, but that's how it looks when you're using the navigation on the system. The other thing about what you're looking at on the handlebars here, the switch gear has been redesigned for 2024. It's now got that little vane thing that you can press the top and bottom and left and right on to select things on the menu. It's nice and easy to use in your gloved hands, and the switch gear is now backlit as well. How good is that? So few bikes do that. Even premium brands, BMW, are you listening, don't do backlit switchgear, but you get it on the CB650R. Alright, while I'm hooning about, let's take you through the numbers. Let's talk about the spec on the bike. Okay, let's take a quick look at the specs on the bike then, just for completeness. Starting off with the engine, 649cc 4-cylinder unit, putting out 94 brake horsepower with 63 newton meters of torque, exactly the same as the pre-2024 bike was. Brakes on the front are dual discs, they're 310mm, and it's got a 4-pot Nissin caliper. On the rear, a 240mm disc with a single pot Nissin caliper. Suspension on the front, they're provided by these 41mm upside down shower big piston forks with separate function. You see on the top there, that's what it says, or separate function fork, big piston. Rather get it round the right way. And then at the back end, we've got a monoshock, as you can see there, and that gives 43.5mm of travel. Seat height on the bike is 810mm, and even though that's a new seat, in fact it's still the same seat height as before. I can get my feet flat on the deck, no problems, at 5'8" with 32-inch legs. Curb weight of this bike, the one with the E-clutch, is 207 kilograms. If you get the non-E-clutch version, it just takes off 2 kilograms, so that makes it 205. So not a much difference adding the E-clutch on here. Tank capacity in that lovely sculpted tank, 15.4 litres. Electronics wise, the bike has got this new 5-inch TFT. It's got LED lights all round, connectivity, no ride-by-wire, so no riding modes. It does have traction control though, which can be switched off using this little button just here. Price wise, this bike comes in at $7,899 with the E-clutch, or if you want to get it without the E-clutch, it's $7,799. So the E-clutch costs just £100, which is basically less than the quick shifter. If you bought a quick shifter, that would, as an option, that would cost you £260, give you upshift only, but the E-clutch gives you all that plus more, and it's only £100 extra. So why would you not have the E-clutch? And then I guess the only other thing to mention about the bike are the colours that it comes in. It comes in these lovely colours, red, grey, black or green. They've got fancy names, but they all look good. And yeah, that's about it. I think it's probably worth noting the Honda Hornet is £500 less than this bike. But of course, that doesn't come yet, at least, with E-clutch. Anyway, talking of which, Honda did give me like a little promo film of E-clutch and how it works. And I don't want to just make this a big advert because I sound like I'm gushing about it, but it does seem a great little gadget to me. Let me just show you that film. It's only about 30 seconds or so. Okay, welcome back aboard the Honda CB650R with the E-clutch option, which is amazing value for money at just £100 for the E-clutch. I mean, why wouldn't you have it? Because you can just say, well, I'm going to ignore it then, I'm just going to use the, there you go, just going to use the normal clutch. You could do that and ride it just as you would a normal bike at all times, and you would notice no different about the bike having an E-clutch. It's just there to use if you want to. In fact, just for the next part of the ride, I'm going to not use it and just check that the clutch does operate exactly as you'd expect. So far it absolutely has. It's a little bit damp on the roads today, as you can see. This is summer in April, well, early summer. It's May the 2nd when I'm recording this, and I'm due to publish this in a couple of days time. I want to get the review out quickly because it's as I say, there are not many of these E-clutch reviews out there yet. Oh, here's a little dry patch. Right, there's nothing behind me. I'm just going to try the brakes on the bike. Front brake, yeah, very nice, and I can pull away and forth, no problem. Just try it again. Very little fork dive, maybe a little bit wooden feeling at the lever, but then, you know, these bikes are built to a price. But I have to say, given it is such a good value machine, it doesn't feel budget at all. I mean, backlit switch gear, really nice TFT, it's got that E-clutch. I mean, it's got a lot going for it, this bike. There's a lot of bikes in this sector now, aren't there? Let's use the manual clutch just for a laugh. You know, you could even choose Honda's own Hornet 750. It's bizarre. I'm swapping between using the clutch and not using it because my brain is so scrambled. So yeah, so Honda's got its own 750 Hornet now, which sort of competes directly with this bike. but of course is a twin, so a completely different feel. You've got likes of the GSXS125 Street Triple even is in there, I suppose. Got quite a lot to choose from. So given this bike has been around for a while, I think they first came out in 2018, and they're not laden with top-notch electronics because it doesn't have that throttle ride-by-wire. You don't have riding modes on the bike, so it's lacking the lean angle stuff, riding modes, all that kind of thing. But to be honest, I'm not too bothered about them. Things like this really good TFT, the integrated navigation that works quite well, and now this E-clutch means that, you know, when you're comparing it against those other bikes, if you do fancy 4 cylinders rather than 2 or 3, you've got a really good value for money option. Ride quality feels nice, mirrors work really well. Yeah, nice work. It's interesting, that quick shifter is about £400 as an option if you want it, and then on the CB650R it's only an upshift, not a downshift too. Whereas with the C-clutch you've got both, and it's just £100 more than the non-E-clutch bike. What is the betting that in the future Honda just fit this as standard? Did I mention if you want you can just switch it through the settings into all manual mode, so you never use the E-clutch. So if you really are anti it, then you can ride the bike just as a normal bike without ever touching the E-clutch and it never being engaged if you want to. Because I must admit, when I first heard about this, and it only seems a few months ago that I was talking about E-clutches and new innovation on Bike News, they just put the patents in for it, and now here I am riding the bike with it. It's amazing how quickly this seems to have come around. But there seems to be no downsides to it for me. Why wouldn't you have the E-clutch option for £100? I mean, just don't think of it as E-clutch, think of it as a really good quick shifter if you want. What's the difference between this and a quick shifter? Well, on a quick shifter, of course, you can't come to a halt in gear, you would stall the bike. This won't stall if you do that. So it's kind of an anti-stall mechanism, if you like. What's the difference between E-clutch and DCT? Well, DCT, you can think of, well, technically it's very different. It's a dual clutch transmission, and it's basically, you can think of it as a fully automatic gearbox. This really is more of an automatic clutch, I would say, and it just works perfectly well. So is there anything about the new 2024 CB650R with E-clutch that I don't like? Well, I'm racking my brains, and you know what, I can't think of anything. It goes well. I mean, maybe the brakes are a little bit wooden, but you know, the fit and finish on it is beautiful. It's got Honda's legendary reliability and build quality. The E-clutch, which I just think is a bonus, why wouldn't you have it? Great value. Now with this TFT, which is lovely, there's no real downsides. I mean, it's a 4-cylinder bike, so it has the characteristics of a 4-cylinder machine, of course. So the pickup from slow speed is it's not as grunty as, say, the GSX-8R or a Triumph Street Triple. They definitely go quicker off the accelerator, but it's not. I mean, it's not slow. It's no slouch. I mean, I wouldn't miss that, to be honest. I mean, it's very rare that you accelerate like a loony anyway. And if you did do that on this and you get it in the high rev range, it does go. So, you know, I'm clutching at straws to find things I don't like about the bike. I like the styling of it. I like the pricing of it. It's got the right level of electronics on it, you know, with ABS and traction. The nice TFT LED lights. But it's not so overwhelmed with them that you know you have to think about it every time you use the bike. Yeah, I think it's a really nice, cool little bike. Something a little bit different. You don't see these about on the road very much. And now that this comes for the 2024 model year with that E-clutch option, and with the new styling, which looks great, I think it's definitely a contender. We really are sport for choice at the moment, aren't we, for motorcycles? It's a bit of a golden age of motorbikes at the moment. How lucky are we? Anyway, I must say a huge thank you to Honda UK for lending me the bike, being I think I'm the first YouTuber to get hold of one of these. So thank you to those guys for letting me be that person. Thank you to you for watching as ever. If it's the first time you've been to my channel, don't be a stranger. Do hit the subscribe button. I try and get 2 videos out a week, sometimes more. And I don't just do bike reviews here on the channel, but I do bits and pieces about touring. I do how to look after your bike in the garage, the odd live stream, monthly bike news, you name it. I try and cover it off here on the Missing Flyer. It'd be great to have you along next time. But there we go, that's my first ride review of Honda's E-clutch on the CB650R. It's a thumbs up from me for the bike and for the e-clutch system. I'm sure we'll be seeing it on a lot more Hondas to come, and for me, I think that's a good thing. Love to hear your comments below. Do you think it's a gimmick, which is what I thought to start with, but now I think it isn't. I just think it's a good thing and at a great price. Or if you have any specific questions that you've got about the bike, then do stick them in the comments below, and I shall endeavour to answer them. Alright, that's it for now. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.
Hey kids, we're the Missenden Flyers.